Hi folks, I am here to talk to you about twin flame relationships. There are lots of videos out there talking about twin flame relationships, lots of ideas. And my motivation for doing this is the recent recognition that since my initiation into twin flame processes around 8 or 9 years ago, math is a little fuzzy, that is the kind of relationship that I have, that's been central in my own life. And in those series of processes, there are a lot of things, including absence of support, that have come up. And also there is a lot of information out there, and some of it I found works for me and resonates with me, and there have been other pieces that have been glaringly missing, and some nuance of twin flame and soulmate relationship that I'd like to speak to, just because it's coming to the forefront. So my first twin flame relationship was someone that I met when I was working for a nonprofit in West Africa, in Ghana, and I recognized him immediately and was pulled into this really intense kind of back and forth relationship with him, where I both felt deeply loving towards him and drawn towards him, and at the same time the absolute polarity of that, and felt like rejecting him was kind of my only option, because I didn't have the tools to hold those polarities in a way that was sustainable or appropriate or not deeply and profoundly isolating. And so I struggled through that relationship. We lived on different continents. I struggled through that relationship for a number of years. And one of the pieces that was really difficult for me was that I felt drawn to this person, but I am not attracted to men. That brings me to my first point, which is to address what I believe to be a major misconception about twin flame relationships, and that is that twin flame relationships are necessarily romantic or sexual. They're not. Twin flame relationships, the essence of that medicine, as I understand it from being inside of it for a third of my life, is that they are invitations into shadow work, into work in examining the pieces of ourselves that truly keep us from stepping into blissful, sustainable connection with other people. Many people who are in or have been in twin flame relationships understand that a level of this is an incredible intensity that is very, very difficult to describe to someone who doesn't experience things in that way or has not had a twin flame relationship. And I believe and I understand that the reason for that is because twin flame relationships have come to earth as a way for people who on a soul level have contracts, have agreements, and have the tools to carry with them a collection of souls, anywhere from a few dozen to a few hundred, even a few thousand different souls, to carry the weight of doing the emotional work, doing the shadow work, so that we can move forward and create more sustainable, unconditionally loving connectivity amongst humans and humanity, and how humanity relates to all of life, and really step into the place of harmony with the natural processes that are this reciprocity of giving and receiving, unconditional giving, unconditional receiving, which is unconditional love. And we are so scarred from history leading up to this point, the history that we have with one another, some people, experiences we've had in past or parallel lives, experiences that we've had in this physical reality, violence, physical, emotional, psychic, all of these things. We're so scarred and constricted. We're really having a hard time reaching out and building sustainable connections with one another. And because we also here in America, at least, are living in a late stage capitalistic society, not everyone has the capacity or the time or the space or the support or the ability to heal themselves. And that is a really, really important part of the New Age movement and of like kind of modern spirituality that's important to address. If you are not in a position to step into a place of like doing the work to heal yourself radically, know that you're not in the wrong. Trust that. If taking on that work is too much for you, do what you feel called to do, what you need to do to sustain yourself, to feel balanced, and to take care of yourself. And don't let other people tell you that your lack of healing is your fault. There are those of us here on the earth who have come to carry more than one person worth of healing. And that's not because we're better than, and it's truly not even because we're different. For me, the choice to live my life in service to healing humanity, healing the planet, and healing in general is what I find to be an appropriate use of the privilege that I have in this lifetime. The many privileges that I have in this lifetime. And I do it not in service to myself, but in service to community. What that process has looked like for me and the twin flame healing processes has been an incredible piece of this healing. What that healing process has meant for me is really removing the blocks that I as a human being was keeping between myself and all that is unconditional and unified and available in all of the cosmos, the unlimited resources that are there. I stand as a conduit to that, as a vessel to that energy that truly is our birthright to connect to. And I want to invite you, if you are in that position, to see in me your own ability to connect to what is divine and what is unified, and the ultimate unification from which we come, the nothingness. I am no different than you. We're the same. So even if you haven't done the work, you have, because I am you. And I don't say this to discourage you from doing work that you feel called to do. I do say it because sometimes we who are in positions of privilege to be able to and have invitations to step into dramatic transformational healing, it's really important that we step outside of that and see that the reason that we're doing that is because we have agreements on a soul level, some level beyond 3D reality, whatever you want to name it. Some people don't believe in a soul. It's just a word. It's really a word to describe what is ineffable. But the reason that we do that is in service to community, period. We are a part of our community, and doing it because it's in alignment with what we need, and we understand that it being in alignment with what we need is also in alignment with what community needs. That's a piece of it too. So, moving back to twin flames. The twin flame relationships are very powerful and really, really difficult and blissful. Often infuriatingly and frustratingly and very confusingly at exactly the same time, or moving very quickly between one thing and the other. It's extremely hard to describe when you're in it because it's so intense and so visceral. And I want to bring in like a little awareness of queerness to this piece too. Aside from recognizing that a twin flame partner does not need to be romantic or sexual, and you can make a choice to step into relationship with one another intentionally to use the clear mirror that comes in the other to heal and create a space between the two of you that's safe and sacred, where what needs to be brought up and seen can be addressed and held intentionally. And there are some really beautiful tools to learn to help with that process. And in later videos, I'll probably reference some of those things. Some that come to mind that have worked really well for me are tools that come from somatic experiencing therapy. I think there are a lot of movement-based exercises that are useful for people. Grounding, which can be as simple as taking a breath and stepping back into your body, or feeling your feet on the ground, or holding a stone. So many things, and we can go into those in later videos.